Welcome to the Construction Disruption Podcast, where we uncover the future of design, building, and remodeling.
I'm Todd Miller of Isaiah Industries, manufacturer of specialty metal roofing and other building materials. Today, my co-host here on Construction Disruption is Ethan Young. How are you doing today, Ethan?
I'm doing pretty good, Todd. How about you?
I'm doing well. You know, I went to the park the other day, had a little bit of fun. I rounded up all the squirrels I could find, and I arranged them by height, by size. Huh. And so that was kind of fun. They did kick me out of the park, unfortunately. They didn't like my critter sizing.
Okay. That's a good one.
It kind of hit me. It forced me into a point, though, where I did get myself an emotional support animal. I got myself a chicken. Interestingly, it came with mashed potatoes, gravy, and a biscuit from KFC, but that's my emotional support animal. Okay.
That's a good one. I love it.
So as a reminder to our audience, once again, this episode, we are doing challenge words, where each of us on the show have been challenged with some weird word that we're supposed to work into the conversation by one of the others put forth. So at the end of the show, we will reveal our success or lack thereof in using our challenge words. Well, are you ready to move forward, Ethan?
Yeah, let's do it.
Very good. Well, I guess it's no surprise to anyone in our audience, but I've been around a few years. I hate to say it. But while I've been on the manufacturing end of things during that time, the fact is my entire career of over 40 years has been in the home improvement industry in one way or another. And over that time, I've seen a lot of change in home improvement. Some of it's had to do with labor market and labor shortages. Some has had to do with new product development and things that have come along. But really, the one area that I have seen change more than any other during my time in this industry has been lead generation. And today we're talking with someone who is taking a truly novel approach to lead generation for home improvement companies. I learned a lot what they were doing a few weeks ago. I learned a bit about it, and I immediately knew that this was so disruptive, we needed to feature it here on Construction Disruption. Again, because for anyone operating in the home improvement space who needs to generate a good number of leads to support and grow their business, this truly is a disruptor in all the best ways. So our guest today is Jadon Moerdyk of RemodelBoom.com. With a degree in strategic brand management, Jadon is shaking things up with his startup, RemodelBoom. Jadon, welcome to Construction Disruption. Pleasure to have you here today.
Thanks, Todd. Thanks, Ethan. Yeah, I'm excited to have a chat with you guys.
Well, we really want to know a little bit about you, but to get us started, just so everyone kind of has the framework of what we're talking about here today, can you sort of give us what the concept of RemodelBoom is, what you folks are doing?
Yeah, sure. So we work with home improvement companies in the US. Basically, we have a program where we take all of the leads that basic leads that never turn into a customer. We put them into our program. We text them. We schedule them for a call with your team. You guys call them, set the in-person appointment, and then we only get paid if you guys sell the job. So there's no upfront costs, no setup fees, no ad spend, nothing like that. And yeah, it's pretty awesome and totally risk-free.
I love it. I'm kind of curious, what led you to this idea? Where did you kind of see suddenly there was an opening and a need for this type of thing?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I don't know how long you want the story to be, but basically how it went was, so we've been doing RemodelBoom for just over 2 years now. My business partner and I, we both had different agencies before RemodelBoom. So I was in the e-commerce space. I was doing like Facebook ads, YouTube ads, Google ads, and content creation for e-commerce brands. And Nick, he's my business partner. He was basically he had an agency in the LASIK space, so laser eye surgery. He was helping them get more clients. And he was doing something similar to what we're doing now, but in that space. And I was running the e-commerce agency, and I don't know if you guys have any experience with e-commerce, but it's very difficult to get brands results, especially on when you kind of scale, because every single e-commerce brand, they're all selling different products. So it's not every strategy has to kind of be different for every different brand, and every e-commerce founder, it's you wake up in the morning, there's just 100 messages. Oh, please change this color. I don't like what this looks like. Please can we remove this ad, etc. So I thought running a business would be a little bit more enjoyable, and I was actually thinking I might just go get a job at McDonald's or something. I was like, this is not so fun. Anyways, and then I joined this kind of like this mastermind. Met my business partner in there. And he was, the mastermind was basically around how to get more clients, right? I was really good at getting clients and doing sales, and he was really good at product and, the actual service delivery, part of things. And, we put our heads together and, we basically started RemodelBoom. And then 1 month in, literally the very first clients that we worked with got unreal results. And we said, let's just go all in on this. And we basically sold our previous agency. So yeah, that's how we got into RemodelBoom basically.
Very interesting. And I realized kind of that disenchantment you ran into with e-commerce. I'm kind of curious though. I mean, you're still in the marketing area. Is marketing just a real passion of yours? Is this something that you've always wanted to have as your career?
Yeah. So the marketing side of things, in the very beginning days, I wanted to be a YouTuber.
Okay.
When I was a kid, I was, when everyone was watching TV, I'm just learning how to video edit. So I was just like a wizard on the video editing side of things. I was video editing for like some of like the top creators. And while I was doing that, I was thinking, this is kind of the same kind of world with marketing. If you can, market that one thing, you can kind of market other stuff. And then from there, it kind of just spiraled. In South Africa, so I'm from South Africa and I now live in London. But in South Africa, it's like getting a job in marketing. It's not very, the pay isn't amazing. And if you want to leave South Africa, it's very hard to leave if you're earning a marketing person's salary in South Africa, because the rand, the currency over there is just it's terrible compared to the dollar or the pound or the euro. So you're kind of forced to almost look at other ways of really making money. So you can, if you want to leave, you kind of have to make things happen. So that's how I was basically just I was never gonna. I always wanted to do something. And then I saw people, starting agencies, and it wasn't impossible, even if you at a young age. And I had a knack for marketing, so I thought, skibbity, let me do this thing.
Cool.
So yeah.
So I'm curious, what is that like? Running a business from England that is working primarily here in the States. Is that giving you any challenges, or is everything as seamless as one might think it would be with the internet and everything?
Yeah, so the hours is a little bit funny.
Oh, yes.
That's the one thing. I currently work, around like Eastern time, but it's usually like 10 a.m. To 10 p.m. UK time. So it's, the hours, it's not too bad. It's not like I'm in Asia or anything. But that would probably be the big difference. And then the second difference would be, especially in the beginning, the accent was always a funny thing for our clients to kind of get over. So I always used to say bathrooms, and they were like, I'm not joking. Clients would literally be like, oh, bathrooms. Oh, bathrooms.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, bathrooms. Yes, we work with bathroom companies. So my accent, it's all over the place at the moment, bathrooms. But no, especially since COVID, I feel like everyone has kind of, adjusted and become more global. So it's not as big of an issue working from here. Also, my business partner, he's in Colorado. He's in the States. He's over there. But our whole team is, worldwide. And yeah, there's no real need for us all to be, together. Funny thing is, I actually met my business partner in person for the very first time 2 weeks ago.
Really?
So
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
so we've been building RemodelBoom, and we chat every day for over 2 years. And literally 2 weeks ago was the first time that we met in person. It was kind of funny, like
That's
getting off
crazy.
the plane, like, oh hey, it's like we've been chatting forever, but it was just a little bit weird. And then after the first few hours, it was like just normal. But yeah, it's fine.
Well, of course, we just had our presidential election, so I was tempted to ask you what you thought about American politics, but
Yes.
that could just be laughs and giggles for hours. So,
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I mean, I was in Vegas. I was in the US for the first time, actually, also 2 weeks ago. This is when I met my business partner. I was there for Top 500, and it was just crazy the amount of ads that were running just for the election. And I was like, this is, I've never seen anything like it. Like, you don't really see ads being run like anywhere like that, and at the scale. So I've literally never seen, like, especially in South Africa. I mean, there's probably no budget to run the presidential, the ads. But even in the UK, it's not nearly on that kind of scale. You would walk into a restaurant and there would be ads. Like, it was bizarre. But I guess for you guys, it's just like another day. But yeah, it's really, really interesting to see all of that.
It is like another day, but at the same time, I don't know. I was talking to someone, I said, that's, I think, my favorite part of the election being done is just I don't have to sell the ads anymore.
Yes.
It's real nice.
Yeah, you can go back to the random vacuum machine that you don't need.
and the roofing advertisements and home improvement
Yes.
advertisements. And well, it's interesting here. Ethan and I are in Ohio, and we had a senatorial race where the challenger did beat the incumbent, but it was the most money spent on advertising for a political race ever, other than the presidential election or race. So we were just inundated nonstop. Plus, we're not necessarily in one of the current swing states, but we're still in a state that had some pretty heavy focus. So, yeah, it was a little crazy. Well, let's get back to RemodelBoom. I know that your focus is on home improvement companies, and one of your criteria is companies that are typically generating at least 100 raw leads, I believe, a month. Tell us, I mean, are you working with all sorts of home improvement companies, and what does it look like for them to get started and onboarded with RemodelBoom?
Yeah, great question. So it's super simple. And we work with all verticals within home improvement: windows, doors, bathrooms, basements, flooring, roofing, of course, cabinets, kitchens, the whole sweep, as well as solar. And in order to get involved with us, in terms of like onboarding and setup, really easy. You just book a call. You can book it at remodelboom.com. And on there, we basically go over everything, how it all works, etc. And then after that, you guys, the company sends us the list of the people that they want us to work, and then we typically can go live within 7 to 10 days of receiving that initial list. So the whole setup, onboarding, it's so quick. There's no need for integrations or anything like that. And it's all really, really simple. We try and make it as easy as possible. And yeah, works really well.
Very good. Can you share with us maybe some of the results you've seen with clients? I know your website has some pretty amazing testimonials and results on it.
Yeah, so I'll put my my bragging hat on.
There you go. Do it.
We have pretty insane results. If a company says, Jadon, we have 10,000 leads or whatever, we can pretty much predict how much we're going to be able to generate you based on our kind of averages. We have like a little calculator that we work internally. You say, we have this many leads. We can say, okay, we're going to probably produce you this much revenue based on your average ticket. If you go on our website, you'll see, we've done multiple $1 million plus net sales for companies. Obviously, those guys have pretty big lists. But for example, Bay State Bath, they had 8,000 leads. They did over 500K net within like a month. from a really small list size like that. Clear Choice Home Improvements, I believe they had 6,000 leads. They did, I think, 300K nets. Renewal by Anderson, one of the division, one of the locations, the Carolinas, they had 36,000 leads. We did over 800K nets. So we've got some pretty insane results. And even on our website, there's like another 20 or 30, customer success stories that we haven't even had a chance to post, because it's just like, if you scroll on there, it's almost like, it's like it doesn't really stop. But yeah, it works really well. And the whole idea is just, how can we make a product that, instead of focusing on, sales and marketing, we should rather spend that time on making a product that works so well that people just want to tell their friends about it. And that's what we've, successfully done. And that's what we try and do. And I think it's working really well. And yeah, the results are pretty epic.
No, those are some amazing results. And I know one of the things we talk a lot about with home improvement companies is the fact that oftentimes they do sort of ignore those pitch and miss type, leads that are in their database, and they just don't do much with them. And a lot of times we'll kind of call those nebulous leads, but there oftentimes can be a lot of deals in those. So I know, you're using texting. How do you feel that consumer who maybe did, has had a past interaction with the company and now suddenly they're being texted, how do they react to that? Are they pretty accepting of it, or what does that look like?
Yeah, it's a good question. So yeah, it all really depends on kind of like the tone and the message that you're actually sending them. The reason why companies kind of do texting wrong is pretty much threefold. So the first, or most of the text messages that they send them, either it's from a bot or they just look like a bot has sent them. So it's just like, you kind of want to have a text message that's a little bit different, and actually looks like you're sending it from a human. The second thing is, when people are replying to the text, often what happens is, there's an AI and software, they're all getting better. But when someone replies, it's, someone will, the software will say, oh, please, hit 1 or 2 if you want to speak to a consultant. It's just like, everyone kind of knows, it's not a very human experience. And with us, we use all real humans. So we don't have any AI. We don't use any bots. It's all real humans. We've got a massive team of texting agents. And we would be obviously the first people that would want to try and move to AI and use that, because it's so expensive with all the staffing costs. But we haven't been able to replicate the same results yet with AI. So it's one thing that's like, on the list. We're always trying to, try and get better and produce things that can do that. But at the moment, it's not. And the reason I bring that up is because, all of our clients, they're all already texting their old leads. They're all already doing their own rehash. But then they also use us because we're able to generate that revenue that they haven't been able to generate in-house. So they try and squeeze out, all the juice out of those leads. And then when they basically finish, they will give it to us so that we can get that revenue that they haven't already. But texting is underutilized, and it's, it's something that every company should be trying to master.
Absolutely. Well, I know one of the other things you do that's pretty unique, other than, hey, these are real people behind these texts, but you do a lot of, I guess I'll call it pay per sale, but, you get paid based upon them making a sale. And, that sort of thing is sort of a holy grail that's been sought after for home improvement contractors for years. I know you did a little bit of name dropping, you got some on your website, but who are some other clients you've worked with here in the States that maybe our listeners might be familiar with?
Yeah. So we work with a ton of, the guys on like the top 500, Rebath, 5-Star Bath, American Roofing, Long Home Products, Expo Home, Zintex, Express Flooring. We work with the entire Renovo suite, Leaf Home. Who else do we work with? Busy Onboarding Jacuzzi Corporates, PJ Fitzpatrick. Who else might you know? Matrix Home Solutions. Infinity Home Improvement. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot. But yeah, that's a bunch.
Do most of your clients stay with you long term? I mean, maybe you work through this initial push of, some real old leads, but then they just keep updating and feeding you more to work?
Yeah, that's a good question. So how it works is, because the campaign, and this is another thing where people go wrong with texting, is they will just beat up their list like it's, and people will, it's basically spam. What we want to avoid when you texting is you want to avoid spamming, right? So one thing that we do at RemodelBoom is we only send one text. So if someone does not reply to that first text, then they never hear from us again until we do it the second time around. So the cadence that we found works best is we do it now, usually lasts a couple of weeks, depending on the size of the list. And then we do it again around 6 months to a year later, with the same list plus anyone that has come in during that period of time. We also use a very different approach in the second time around. And everyone basically wants to come back again for that second time around. So that's what we find to work well.
That's really interesting. I mean, I think it goes back to your earlier point about authenticity in all your text messages. And I do think consumers are really sensitive to that in any kind of marketing. So I think it's great, like you said, that, you guys aren't using AI right now, but the goal is to get there at some point once it can, kind of meet those standards.
When you started, I assume you had sort of some general expectations of what you could accomplish for your clients. Have you met those? Have you done even better than you thought you would do?
Yeah, we've we've done better, if I'm being honest, than I thought we would do. The first few clients that we worked with, we didn't know if the product was, or the service was going to work as well as it did. Literally, we were working with bathroom companies, one day bath, that kind of thing, until we explored the entire home improvement sort of verticals. And we worked with them. We said, let's just see how it goes. We're going to try our best. And they absolutely loved it. And then from there, we kind of just broadened everything. Also, in the very beginning, we were doing it on sort of like a pay per call sort of basis. And then we were chatting with clients and they were telling us about rev share. They were telling us, it would be great if this was completely risk-free, because a lot of people, it's tough to do something where, you pay all this money and you don't even know if they're going to turn into a job, right? So there's so many lead aggregators out there that, they promise you the world. And then once you're 10K or 5K deep, you don't have any sales, and then they're happy, but you've got nothing on your side. So we just thought, how can we make this just the best? Like, how can we make this the most risk-free for the customer? And that's where we came up with the rev share. So yeah, also the problem is with rev share is everyone thinks it's like too good to be true, because there's so many lead aggregators that do rev share, but then they have this massive, setup fee or, massive upfront costs. So a lot of people are almost like skeptical when you say rev share, because it's like either the leads are just going to be trash because, it's rev share. They probably get the leads from like some, dodgy website, and they're just going to waste my sales rep times, or they're going to have this massive setup fee or upfront cost that I'm not aware of until I am. So yeah, that's kind of how the evolution happened, and now it is zero risk.
Well, you get an extra chevron on your sleeve for exceeding what you even thought you could do for your clients. That's great. Anything else you guys are dreaming of in the future? You can maybe give us a teaser on it. Don't want to spill the beans too fast, but just curious.
Yeah. I mean, we bullish on direct mail.
Okay.
I think it's something that's overlooked quite a bit. There are only a few home improvement companies that are doing a really good job at it. The problem with direct mail is a lot of companies, it's hard to get right, and you have to be really patient. because it's not, you're gonna send a couple direct mail, nothing's gonna happen, and then you're kind of gonna fall off. You're gonna sort of forget about it. But the key is to really keep it going and reinvent that wheel. So a lot of companies, they kind of overlook it, and then it doesn't go their way. But that's something that we might incorporate in the future. It's always tough to, when you're building something where there's all these ideas, right? Like there's, we want to incorporate this, we want to incorporate that, we want to bring in this, but you almost get this like shiny object syndrome where there's all these things that you could do, and it takes away from what is actually working and what people want right now. So my business partner and I have tried very hard not to just start adding things until we need to. And I'm sure, I'm sure you guys are aware of that. So yeah, that's one thing that we're looking at. But there's so many things that can work in what the space needs. And yeah, it's all very exciting. I'm excited to see how things develop.
Well, I love that. As I always say, all that glitters doesn't necessarily make you gold. So you got to figure your way through that and do the right thing for your clients. So what's it been like to scale and grow your own business? Any particular challenges that have come along that you've had to figure your way through that come to mind? Yes.
One challenge we're facing right now is hiring. Mm-hmm. So I've never, our team is around 25 people at the moment. We need more account managers. We currently basically have too much demand for the amount of staff that we have. So we basically have a waiting list at the moment of companies that want to work with us that we can't take on at the moment. And the reason why is because we are, number one, making a couple mishires, and number two, it's difficult to hire smart people that can learn things quickly. So that's a big challenge that we're currently facing, just like how to hire really smart people, as well as identify people that can learn things quickly. I don't know how you guys, find hiring, but it's something that we've spoken to so many people about hiring, and it seems like there isn't like a cookie cutter way on doing it. It's almost like you got to figure it out as you go, and that gut instinct, sort of gets better every time you do hire. But that is a big challenge that we're currently facing at the moment. That with everything in business, you're gonna overcome the problems. But that's a big one that comes to mind when you ask that question.
So are a lot of your team members there, are they in England, or you got them spread over other countries?
Yeah, we've got England and mainly South Africa. So I'm from South Africa. We have a couple of people in South Africa. And yeah, that's another thing, with us being global, you can find people all over the world. One thing that one of my mentors told me was, so if you have, I'm allowed to pick a football team, or let's just, a football team, and you're allowed to pick a football team. The only difference is that I'm allowed to pick a team from any country in the world, right? And you're only allowed to pick a team from the US, and the losing team, they basically die. It's like the person that can pick worldwide is always going to win, because there's talent. There's if you can look for talent globally, it's 10 times better than just looking locally. So that's something that we kind of take on board. And yeah, it's something that I think a lot of companies should try and look at. They shouldn't just, look at, their surroundings.
Who's in their backyard. Makes a lot of sense. Well, I will give a shout out while we're talking about hiring to Dr. Melissa Furman. You can find her on LinkedIn, but she was a prior guest on our show, and she does great, helps companies with hiring and leadership and such things, and has some fantastic insight into hiring. So I encourage all of our listeners to check her out again, Dr. Melissa Furman. So You're a young guy. You've had the entrepreneurial bug. You've pursued it. Kudos to you. Any words of advice out there for any other listeners who may have the entrepreneurial bug themselves?
When someone wants to go into business, what they often do is they think business is about, inventing something, or they think it's about kind of following that shiny object sort of syndrome, which you need to avoid. My advice would be, instead of either, number one, kind of, copying what other people are doing, and number two, thinking you have to reinvent the wheel, I would always look for an actual problem. So you can pick a niche, or pick a niche that you actually interested in. It can be anything. And then ask the people that are in that niche what their problems are. Everyone has problems. Every business has problems, like us right now, hiring. If someone just said, "Hey, Jadon, I've got, the best, I can recruit account managers for you. It'll take me a week." We would pay them big bucks. So instead of, a big problem people do is they always just do what other people are doing, or they all think that they need to do something crazy that's, like build the next freaking Instagram or whatever. But what they should actually be doing is looking at a niche, just talk to the people within that niche and see what real problems they have, right? There's so many problems, and everyone wants their problem solved, and people will pay money to get them solved because it's harder to do it themselves, So that's some advice I would give to someone. And yeah, it's fun. It's going to be hard at the beginning, but it gets better. It gets better, and there's always problems. Problems always arise, and you gotta have some thick skin to deal with the problems and not get discouraged.
You got to be pretty resilient, no doubt about it. But I love that advice, though. Look for the need that's out there. Look for something that's giving people problems. And kudos. You've done a great job doing that. Well, thanks so much, Jadon. This has been great. We're thankful for your time. We're kind of close to wrapping up what we call the business end of things, and then we'll have a little bit more fun. But is there anything we haven't covered yet that you'd like to share with our audience?
No, I don't think there is. Some value for your audience might be, if they are, everyone wants more leads, right? One thing they can do to always get more leads is don't overlook platforms like YouTube. They can always learn you can always learn yourself. If they think that they have to hire this agency, that agency, a million different agencies, there's always someone that, has posted some videos on YouTube where they can figure it out, especially if they're starting. So if there's someone, starting a home improvement company or whatever, they can always learn from someone that's already done it, instead of thinking the only way to get more leads is by paying someone to get these leads for me. You can always do it yourself in the beginning. And then as you have, more resources, you can outsource that to agencies. So one thing I would say is, a lot of guys are, especially the starting guys, is kind of, advice to some of the home improvement companies, like the starting guys, because they always ask us, we have a lot of calls, and a lot of companies aren't big enough to work with us. And, we always tell them, guys, there's a million different resources out there. Just pick one, try and get amazing at it, and then add the next thing, and add the next thing, and add the next thing. Don't try and do everything all at once. Try and pick one, get some leads out of there, build that channel, and then you can add the next channel, and get some leads from there. So yeah, it's just one thing I would say to people.
Well, that is great advice from Jadon Moerdyk with RemodelBoom.com. Well, before we close out here, I want to ask if you're willing to participate in something we call our rapid fire questions. These are 7 questions. Some are silly, maybe a little more serious. All you have to do is give a response. Are you up to the challenge of rapid fire?
Let's do it.
Cool. Well, Ethan, you want to alternate asking questions?
Yeah, I can start us off.
Awesome.
Ping-ponged a bit back and forth about asking this one, but it is one of my favorites. So what's a product or service you've purchased recently that's been a game changer for you?
Good question. Game changer. A good chair. So I recently invested in a Herman Miller chair. They're very expensive. I don't know if you guys have heard of this brand. It's the same chair that Obama used to sit on in the White Office. So it's a very expensive chair, but it's the best investment like I've made in a long time. I literally can sit on this chair for hours. So if you want to check it out, it's called a Herman Miller.
Okay.
Very expensive, but it's worth the money. If you work from your desk every single day, it's worth getting a good chair.
Man, a chair makes all the difference. Sure does.
I will add, they're not bad on the used market. I have two. I have one at home and one in the office now. So for anybody that's interested in one, and there's plenty of good used ones out there too. So
for sure, they last a lifetime.
Well, actually, I will answer that question myself. So I don't know what even started this, but I started getting all these ads on Facebook for these fancy new pillows that you sleep on in bed. And they've got sort of a impression in the middle for your head, and they've got some support for your neck. And I got one. Yeah, actually, I don't like it. So this is something that hasn't changed my life yet, but I'm hoping it might. Okay, question number 2. What is your favorite breakfast?
Favorite breakfast?
I figure you guys eat different breakfasts than we do, probably. So.
Yeah, look, honestly, my whole day, I've tried to structure it so I don't have to think that much. So, for example, I found the brand of shirt that I like, and I just bought 7 different colors for 7 different days. So
good deal.
My breakfast is the same every single morning. I basically have avo on toast with 3 eggs, on with some salt and pepper, some Tabasco, and then I have some blueberries and yogurt on the side. So that's pretty much my, I told myself it's my favorite breakfast, but it's my everyday breakfast.
Really,
it's
it's
every
just
single
simple.
day. Yeah, it's really pretty simple. But yeah, no, my girlfriend's a pretty good cook. So when anything she cooks is my favorite. So yeah, no, it's all good. The food is good.
Well, I like your theory there, though. Keep things simple so you can focus on the things that are going to make a difference. And that's kind of Mark Zuckerberg, I think, kind of what he does, except all of his shirts are gray. But anyway.
Yeah, it's I was told this, if you want to run a complicated business, then you can't have a complicated personal life.
Yeah, makes sense.
I'm trying to, eliminate all the drama and keep the decisions minimal so the business can take all the brain power.
All right, question number 3. What did the 8-year-old Jadon want to be when he grew up?
I wanted to be Roger Federer.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so I was very into tennis. This is another thing in South Africa. So I grew up in a small town called East London in South Africa. Very bizarre, I know. But there was a small group of people where if you get really good at tennis, you can move to the States. So you can go to like a college in the States because they'll sponsor you to come over. So I had like a whole bunch of buddies, and we were training tennis like to basically go pro every single day. And then when I hit 18, I think I was just pushing too hard as a kid. So I kind of lost the passion a bit. But yeah, when I was 8, it was tennis champion, Wimbledon. Yeah.
Awesome. Love it. Next question. Would you rather be a high school teacher or a professional clown?
That's funny. That's tough because I really didn't like school. So yeah, I really didn't like school, but I love teaching and giving advice and that sort of thing. And I think I could make an impact. I think I could in the school, because a lot of teachers, they kind of hate their jobs. But if you there was, I always had this one teacher that just loved his job, and he was just the best person. It was the best lesson to be in. So, and the clown thing, yeah, I'm already a bit of a clown. So, I don't know if being a professional clown, you don't want to do your passion as a job. So, I'm gonna probably go with the high school teacher. Funny enough, But any other option, I'd probably choose the other option. But yeah, that's a good question.
Alrighty, next one. Who's one person from history that you'd like to have dinner with?
Like dead or alive, or like
Yeah, we could do
dead.
dead or alive. Yeah.
Okay. Dinner. I'll probably choose Elon Musk, and I know it's generic, but it's crazy how he can run so many companies and also play video games for 4 hours live on X, like, on a random evening. So I'd love to just see how this guy operates. I mean, he also has 12 kids. Like, I don't know how, like, unless this guy just actually doesn't work and he just has, a million CEOs just running everything for him. It seems like he's wired differently. So if I could just spend an hour with him, I think a lot of that stuff would just, be pretty obvious after a little session, a little dinner night with him. But yeah, that might. Also, he's from South Africa originally, so I'd love to just pick his brain on how that was. I hear it was not so enjoyable, which is unfortunate. But yeah, probably Elon Musk.
Well, that's a great answer. And actually, it leads into our next question. I did not change this. If Elon Musk wanted to fly you to Mars, would you go?
Oh, man, that's tough. Okay, can I have some follow-up questions on that?
Sure.
For example, are you the first person, or is it like, 5 years from now, he says, you're going to come to Mars?
Let's say you're first.
And are you staying there? Are you staying on Mars? How long do you have to be there for?
Let's say that you gotta go there, and who knows how long that would take. But you got to stay there for 6 months.
Oh, look, I think if I was the very first person to go to Mars and it was guaranteed survival, and I was only going to be there for 6 months, and it's guaranteed that I can come back and nothing bad is going to happen, then I would oblige. I don't think my family and friends and girlfriend would be too happy, but I'll tell them, guys, it's once in a lifetime. First person on Mars, you can't beat that. So yeah, I would accept.
That's where I would be too.
Yeah, like you guys too. Would you also do that?
I would. I don't know about Ethan.
I mean, the thing about being the first is like, that's a cool thing, but also like you're the first. So like, you're going to find out all the, awful things that happen to you.
That's right.
Discover aliens on Mars that no one knows of.
Hard to have any guarantees when you're the first, aren't in there?
Yeah. Alrighty. Last question. How would you like to be remembered at the end of your time here on Earth?
Oh, we're getting deep. I've dabbled with it in my head, like whether I want to leave this, unbelievable legacy versus just live a good life, and not really worry about what people, remember me by publicly. And at the moment, I'm leaning towards the latter. So I want to have, a big family. No, I mean, not that big, like 3 kids, have big family. I am already very family oriented with my family. And I think I would like to, be remembered as a good father, a good husband, and build something that added some value to someone, a product that is just so exceptional that people just love it and just want more of it. And, whether that turns into a massive thing or not, I would be happy. So I don't think I need to, I'm not too phased about, building the next Apple or anything like that. I'm just very interested and excited about building something that people love and, putting the risk on us as much as possible so that they can just worry about what they're doing and have a great life and have fun. I think a lot of people, they underestimate the length of time that you actually have on this planet, and I think you should enjoy some of it. So yeah, who knows if I'm going to be, everyone says the same thing where as soon as I reach this milestone, I'm done. That is, as soon as you hit that milestone, you're like, okay, now I want to reach the next thing. So I think I'm wired like that, but I also think that it's important to slow down sometimes, look at what you've kind of created, and then have some time to have some fun, which I want to do. So I want to be remembered by someone that didn't take life so seriously. I looked after my family and friends, and I built something that was pretty great, and some people loved.
That is great advice. Good answer. Well, Jadon, thank you again for your time today. This has been a real pleasure, a lot of fun. For anyone who wants to get in touch with you or perhaps wants to know more about RemodelBoom.com, what are some ways they can do that?
Yeah, thanks for having me. You can just go to RemodelBoom.com. It's pretty simple. You can go on there, book a call. There's a little video on me there. I'll try and convince you to book a call. And yeah, it's just RemodelBoom, like the explosion.com. And you can find some information once you book a call. And yeah, hopefully myself or one of the team members will have a chat with you, and we can have a fun discussion.
Great. Well, we're hoping to get a lot of folks introduced to you, and we'll do our best on that. Recap of our challenge words. We all worked those in. Ethan, your challenge word was?
Mine was ping pong.
Very good. You worked it in. Got it in there. Jadon, your word was, this was a bit of a challenge. Your word was?
Skibbity. I still don't know what that means.
No one knows what it means, but it's fun to say.
Yes, it was. I can just imagine your listeners are just like, "What? This random South African guy talking about? Where did he get these words from?"
You worked it in well. Good job. And I had the word chevron, which I worked in there okay, I think. So
yeah, that was good.
Good stuff. Well done, gentlemen. Thank you again. Appreciate your time today, Jadon.
Thanks, Todd. Thanks, Ethan. Yeah, it was great fun, and yeah, looking forward to everything.
And thank you to our audience for tuning into this episode of Construction Disruption with Jadon Moerdyk of RemodelBoom.com. We're going to put his information in the show notes also, so you can get in touch with him. But if you're in the home improvement business, you really need to check these guys out, because they are blowing up businesses just like yours. So check it out. And please watch for future episodes of our podcast. We always have great guests just like Jadon. And don't forget to leave a review or give us a thumbs up. Until the next time we're together, though, keep on disrupting and challenging those in your world to better ways of doing things. And don't forget to have a positive impact on everyone you encounter. Make them smile and encourage them. So God bless and take care. This is Isaiah Industries signing off until the next episode of Construction Disruption.
This podcast is produced by Isaiah Industries, manufacturer of specialty metal roofing and other building products.